Om Shanti. This is the Avyakt Murli of 16th of January 1985, and the title is The Attainment of the Inheritance and Blessings from God in the Age of Fortune. Today, the Father, the seed of the world tree, is looking at his children who are the foundation of the tree, the foundation from whom the whole tree grows. He is looking at the special souls who are the embodiment of essence and who bring about growth. That is, he is looking at the souls who are images of support of the tree. He is looking at the special souls who have imbibed all the powers they have received directly from the seed. Out of all the souls of the world, only a few souls have received this special part. There are so few souls who have received the part of elevated attainment through their relationship with the seed. Today, Bapdada was looking at the fortune of such elevated, fortunate children. Children should simply remember two words: Bhagwan, God, and Bhagya, fortune. Everyone receives fortune according to their karma. Even you souls have to come into the account of karma and fortune from the copper age onwards. But in the present age of fortune, God gives you fortune. He gives you children the method of drawing an elevated line of fortune, which is the pen of elevated actions. And with this pen, you can draw as elevated and clear a line of fortune for birth after birth as you want. No other time has this blessing. It is only this time that has the blessing for you to attain whatever you want and however much you want. Why? God is giving you children the treasures of fortune with a generous heart and without you having to make any effort. It is an open treasure store. There are no locks and keys. It is such an overflowing, unending treasure store that you can take as many treasures as you want. It is an unlimited, overflowing treasure store. Every day, Bapdada reminds you children, take as much as you want. Don't take according to capacity, but take with a big heart. Take from the open treasure store, from the overflowing treasure store. What would the Father say if any of you take according to your capacity? The Father also remains the detached observer and smiles as he watches. Children are so innocent that they become happy with just a little. Why? Because for 63 births you have had the sanskars of devotees who become happy with just a little. Instead of taking the full attainment, you consider a little to be a lot and become satisfied with that. You forget that this is the time to take all attainments from the Eternal Father. Nevertheless, Bapdada reminds you children, be powerful. It is still not too late. You have come late, but it is not yet the time for too late. This is why, even now, it is the time to take from both forms of the Father, an inheritance from the Father and blessings from the Satguru. Therefore, create your elevated fortune easily in the form of blessings and an inheritance. Then you won't have to think. The bestower of fortune distributed fortune, but I only took this much. The children of the Almighty Authority Father cannot be according to capacity. You now have the blessing that you can take whatever you want from the Father's treasure store as you write. Even if you are weak, with the Father's help, you can make your present and future elevated, because when a child maintains courage, the Father gives help. There is very little time left for you to receive the Father's cooperation and the Father's open treasure store of fortune. Now, because of love for you, the Father is your companion at every moment and in every situation. But after a little while, instead of being the companion, his part of watching everything as the detached observer will begin. Whether you become full of all powers or you become full according to your capacity. He will observe both these stages as the detached observer. Therefore, at this elevated time, claim the attainment of the inheritance, blessings, cooperation, and company that you are receiving from Bap Dada. Never become careless in your attainments. There are still so many years left. Don't confuse the time period of world transformation with the time period of attainment. Don't be left behind by just thinking such thoughts of carelessness. In your Brahmin life, constantly remember the words for all attainments and attainment over a long period of time. If not now, then never. This is why you were told to remember just two words, Bhagwan and Bhagya. Then you will always remain multi-million times fortunate. Bap and Dada were having a heart-to-heart conversation between themselves. Why are children compelled by their old habits? The Father makes you strong, and yet you children then become compelled. He gives you the legs of courage and wings, and also makes you fly with him. And yet, why do you come up and go down? Come up and go down. You continue to remain confused in the age of pleasure. This is known as being compelled by your old habits. Are you strong or are you compelled? The Father makes you double light and gives you his cooperation by lifting all the burdens himself. However, because you have the habit of picking up burdens, you take that burden. Do you know what song you then sing? You sing the song of Ke, Kya, what, Kyun, why, and Kaise, how. You also sing another song, Ge Ge, leave it to some time in the future. Those are songs of devotion. The song of someone who has a right is, I have attained. So, which song do you sing? Throughout the day, check what song you were singing today. Bap Dada loves you children, and because of this love, he always thinks every child should always be full, powerful, and multi-million times fortunate. Do you understand? Acha. To those who, according to the time, always have a right to the inheritance and blessings, to those who create their full fortune from the open treasure store of fortune, to those who transform from according to capacity, Yata Shakti, to being full of all powers, Sarva Shakti, to those who draw the complete line of fortune with the pen of elevated actions, to the elevated souls who are embodiments of all attainments and who know the importance of this time. Bap Dada's love, remembrance, and namaste to make you full. Bap Dada meeting groups. Do you always remember your alokik birth, alokik life, alokik father, and alokik inheritance? Just as the father is alokik, so your inheritance is also alokik. A physical father gives you a limited inheritance, and the alokik father gives you an unlimited inheritance. So, let there always be the awareness of the alokik father and the inheritance. You don't sometimes go into the memories of your lokic life, do you? You have died alive, haven't you? Just as those whose body dies physically never remember their previous birth, in the same way, those with an alokik life and an alokik birth can never remember their lokic birth. Now, even the age has changed. The world is iron aged, and you are confluence aged. Everything has changed. You don't sometimes go into the iron age, do you? This too is a border. As soon as you cross the border, you end up in the hands of the enemy. So, you don't cross the border, do you? Let there always be the awareness that you are a confluence-aged, elevated soul with an alokik life. What will you now do? Become the biggest of all businessmen. Become such a businessman that in one step you accumulate an income of multi-millions. You always belong to the unlimited Father. Therefore, continue to move forward in the unlimited service with unlimited zeal and enthusiasm. Do you constantly experience the double light stage? The sign of a double light stage is to be constantly in the flying stage. Those who are in the flying stage can never be attracted by Maya. Those who are in the flying stage are constantly victorious. Those who are in the flying stage constantly have faith in the intellect and remain carefree. What does it mean to be in the flying stage? The flying stage means the highest and high stage. When you fly, you go up above, do you not? Consider yourself to be the highest souls who remain stable in the highest and high stage and continue to move forward. To be in the flying stage means the feet of the intellect are not on the ground. The ground means beyond the awareness of the body. Those who remain beyond the ground of the awareness of the body are constant angels who have no relationship with the ground. You now know about the awareness of the body, and you also know the soul conscious stage. When you know the difference between the two, you cannot become body conscious. You only do that which you like doing, don't you? Therefore, always maintain the awareness that you are an angel. With the awareness of an angel, you will constantly continue to fly. When you go into the flying stage, the ground down below cannot attract you. Just as when you go into space, there is no pull of gravity from the earth. In the same way, when you have become an angel, the earth of the body cannot attract you. Do you constantly experience the stage of being cooperative karma yogis, natural yogis, and constant yogis? When something is easy, it becomes constant. If it is not easy, it is not constant. So, are you constant yogis? Or is there a difference? Yogi means to remain constantly absorbed in remembrance. When you have all relationships with God, then because of all relationships, there will be natural remembrance. And when there are all relationships, there will be the remembrance of one. Since there is just the one, there would be constant remembrance. So, belong to the one Father and none other in all relationships. To belong to the one Father in all relationships is the easy way to become a constant yogi. When you don't have any other relationship, where would your remembrance go? Always have the awareness that you are easy yogi souls by having all relationships, by constantly being equal to the Father and having the balance of love and power at every step. Success automatically comes in front of you. Success is your birthright. You have to work in order to remain busy, but one is laborious work and the other is just like a game. Since you have received the blessing of powers from the Father, then where there is power, everything is easy. Let there just be balance between the family and the Father, and you will automatically receive blessings. Where there are blessings, there is the flying stage. Even against your conscious wish, there is easy success. Do you always have the awareness of the Father and your inheritance? The awareness of who your Father is and what inheritance you have received automatically makes you powerful. You have received such an imperishable inheritance that in one birth it can create a reward for many births. Have you ever received such an inheritance before? You receive this now, but never in the rest of the cycle. Therefore, constantly continue to move forward with the constant awareness of the Father and your inheritance. By remembering your inheritance, there will be constant happiness, and by remembering the Father, you will constantly remain powerful. A powerful soul will always remain a conqueror of Maya, and where there is happiness, there is life. What is life when there is no happiness? In that situation, although having a life, it is equal to not having a life. While living, it is like being dead. The more you remember your inheritance, the more happiness there will be. Do you constantly have happiness? Only a handful out of multi-millions receive such an inheritance, and you have received it. Never lose this awareness. The more remembrance there is, so accordingly there is the attainment. There is constant remembrance and the constant happiness of attainment. Bapdada meeting Kumars. A Kumar life is a powerful life. So Brahma Kumars means spiritually powerful, not physically powerful, but spiritually powerful. You can do whatever you want in Kumar life. So all of you Kumars have created your present and future in your Kumar life. What have you created? You have made it spiritual. When you become Brahma Kumars with a spiritual life, you became those with such an elevated life. Your life became so elevated that you stepped away from sorrow, deception, and wandering around for all time. Otherwise, Kumars with physical strength continue to wander around. They just fight, quarrel, give sorrow, and deceive others. So, you have been saved from so many things. Just as you have been saved, so you also have the enthusiasm to save others. You are those who constantly save your equals. Also, give to others the powers that you have received. You have received limitless powers, have you not? So, make everyone powerful. Serve while considering yourself to be an instrument. Not, I am a server, Baba is making me do it, and I am just an instrument. You are not those who have the consciousness of I. Those who don't have the consciousness of I are the true servers. Bab Dada meeting couples. Are you constantly souls who are masters of the self? The rule over the self means constantly to have a right. Those who have a right can never be dependent. If you are dependent, you cannot have all rights. When it is night, it is not day, and when it is day, it is not night. Similarly, such souls who have all rights cannot be dependent on any of the physical senses, people, or material comforts. Do you have such rights? When you have become master almighty authorities, then what does that make you? Those with all rights. So, with the powerful awareness that you are the souls who are masters of the self, you will easily continue to be victorious. Let there not be the slightest thought of defeat, even in your dreams. This is called being constantly victorious. Has Maya run away, or are you chasing her away? Have you chased her away to such an extent that she doesn't come back? When you don't want someone to come back, you leave him somewhere far away. So, have you chased her that far away? Bab Dada meeting a group from Mauritius. All of you are lucky stars, are you not? How much fortune have you attained? No one else can have fortune greater than this, because the Father, the bestower of fortune himself, has become yours. You have become his children. Since the bestower of fortune himself has become yours, what could be a greater fortune than this? So, are you such elevated, fortunate, sparkling stars? You are those who make everyone else fortunate, because when you have found something good, you cannot stay without giving that to others. Just as you cannot stay without remembrance, in the same way, you cannot stay without serving. Each child will ignite the light of many others, and create a rosary of lights. Deep mala, rosary of lights, is a sign of the tilak of sovereignty. So, those who create the deep mala receive the tilak of sovereignty. To serve means to be one who has the tilak of sovereignty. Those who have zeal and enthusiasm for service can also give wings of zeal and enthusiasm to others. Acha, blessing. May you be a conqueror of nature by staying beyond the influence of the elements of nature, by remaining in an elevated stage. You are becoming conquerors of Maya, but now also become conquerors of the elements of nature, because there is now to be a lot of upheaval of nature. Sometimes the water of the ocean will show its influence, and sometimes the earth will show its influence. If you are a conqueror of the elements of nature, none of the upheaval of the elements will be able to shake you. You will then constantly observe all the games as a detached observer. Just as angels are always shown on a high mountain, in the same way, when you angels remain in a high stage, then to the extent that you are high, accordingly, you will be beyond all upheaval. Slogan: to give all souls an experience of cooperation with your elevated vibrations is also tapasya. Om Shanti.